G'day fellas, and welcome to something that we haven't done in quite some time. This is a replay review. Well, not necessarily a replay review. We're just doing a video where we're not playing, we're actually watching the replay instead. And our focus today is going to be on this gentleman right here. Because as you've probably seen from the title of this video, the thumbnail of this video, he's going to be making a few hovercraft, which is pretty weird. So before we do it, let's introduce our team captains. Today, on the blue team, we've got Snooper, who is the captain, and on the red team, we've got Watch Me Do This. Now, we are in this game as well. We're up in the back eco spot where we always love to be, so we might touch in a little bit later on, but it's a fun game. We'll say that much. So why are we focusing on I Am Legion today? Well, obviously he's making a hovercraft platform, but that doesn't seem that interesting, right? Well, it actually is, and that's because typically when you go hovercrafts from here, it's very often flamed. We're in a pretty decent lobby here, and despite that, he feels confident enough to go hovercrafts. So I want to sort of study this. I want to explain the things that he does, talk through his decision-making process here, and just reveal this strategy. Because the truth is, I think hovercrafts are a perfectly reasonable opening on this beach sea, and that might be a hot take, but I do genuinely think it's actually pretty good. Let's talk a little bit about why. So to start off, he's opened up with 3 construction hovercraft. Now, the reason why construction hovercrafts are quite good here, number 1, they're quick. Number 2, they can go across water, which means that you can contest the island on this position right here without ever having to buy a transport or risk your commander. That is a huge potential issue if you open with the Sea Lab. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to go into a Sea Lab a little bit later. He does. I will spoil that for you now. However, he opens with the hovers. And the idea is that you want to be annoying as you possibly can. And I assure you, he very much is. So the first hover is going to come out. He's going to look to grab this mechs right here. I feel like one adaptation that he could do that's slightly better, and we've seen this with high-level players like Andre, is just grabbing the naval nettle and just putting it down right here. You can probably put the land one down as well, and just to prevent drops, because there will almost always be a drop on this corner, especially at high levels. So we can see he's got the scout, or rather his allies got the scout plane coming out. They see everything that's happening here, and he's up against a pretty high OS player, OS 39. This guy, Eco Player 1355, do not be fooled. His name is Eco Player, but he is actually a C player. And the reason why is because I was talking to him, he said, I can't win on Eco position. I can only win on C at this level. And that's just the reality, right? You're just not able to have that much impact. So he's also eating the rocks quite early here. We can see he's beginning to move out, looking to take mexes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 mexes that he's going to be taking with this hovercraft constructor. And we've got this one that's going to be coming out over towards the island. You can see he's got a nice little blueprint that's put down. I don't know if blueprint's the right term, but he's got himself all set up over here. And then that third one is just going to continue eating rocks for the moment. The commander stays in base, providing all that necessary build power. And if we check back in on his ally, we're at 3 minutes on the dot. Eco Player's in base. He had to reclaim the lab, now putting up the shipyard. So probably going to be quite low on metal shortly. And we can see that drop is going to be coming out. It does actually get scouted out by this Finch here. And one thing to note is that this does actually get scouted out by Eco Player. Eco Player sees it, and I'm not sure if he says in here, but he says something along the lines of noob strategy, something like that, because there's quite a lot of scouts that are coming out, or seekers that are coming out here. So the idea is that with this strategy, with the hovercraft strategy, normally when you're playing against the GOC, they've got all of these mexes back here, and they've got the advantage. Okay, because they've got more mexes than you. They've got the Geo. So the idea is that you want to push them off balance. So you can't really do that if you open with a Sea Lab, because there's no way that you can get behind here unless one of your allies does. Or maybe if you do a drop. We've seen occasionally players do drops up over here on the Geo and walk a grunt into the base. But what's going to happen here is Eco Player is going to try his best to defend. There's a couple of ways he could do that. He could make a grunt right now in his K-Bot lab. He could drop down some LLTs, but you can see he wants to be quite, not necessarily greedy, but, well, he is going to drop it down right there, but not necessarily greedy, but, well, I guess you could probably say greedy. He wants to try and make sure that he's able to survive through this without spending as little, or without spending as many resources as he needs to. The idea is that you want to just kill everything with your commander. That's essentially it. You can see the shurikens are coming through. Transport is back. The grunt did get handled because the commander's still in the base because we've opened hovers, and you can see somehow these shurikens, they were caught, but Eco Player unfortunately let a couple of these through. So I Am Legion now able to get past despite the shuriken. Shuriken's now going to be caught, but the main thing you're going after are those metal extractors. If you're able to stop or take out those metal extractors, you're able to cut the head off the Hydra. Meanwhile, he's also hitting the front player. And I love this, because normally you will be hitting the front player. It's just normally it's when you've got a destroyer. So now he's able to do this as one of the best players, or the best player on the team. And he's able to come in here, do huge amounts of damage here, just disrupt, take out 3 mexes, and then get out and dodge. Meanwhile, back over here, keep in mind, he's still taking out these 3. Still got the Seeker that's sitting here, just waiting. He has been so disruptive. And behind this, able to take all of the mexes over here, able to take the mexes over on the island. He's getting these up quickly. And now, finally, after 5 minutes, he makes his way to the ocean. That is the opening. That's everything that, like, that's the primary thing. I think a bit of a mistake here, because the frigate can't actually kill the mechs if it's under the water, so I think he probably should have just committed to get the hovercraft, or to get the mechs up, but it's okay. It's a little detail. Another interesting thing to note here is that Eco Player opened with a submarine against hovers. Not particularly the best move, but I guess it's going to be good in clearing out the metal extractors, as we do see. But once again, look who's coming back. He's coming back once again, just to be so annoying. And that's the best thing about these hovers, that you never really know when they're going to come back, and he's going to try and get these LLTs up, but it's just too little too late at this point. And once again, they're able to sneak through a couple of sweepers in here as well, just to make sure that any shurikens that inevitably do come down this way are going to get cleaned up. And this is so frustrating to deal with, because Eco Player, he's sitting on 7 metal per second. This is terrible. This is so bad. 7 metal per second. Right now, he should have taken both of these mexes. He should have all of these. The commander should be over on this island, but he's stuck. He's stuck dealing with these hovercrafts. And that's part of the reason why I'm a big fan of this hovercraft opening. I don't think you should 100% just commit to hovercraft, but I think that opening with hovercrafts and then transitioning into a shipyard makes a lot of sense. It's a great way to push your opponent off balance and give yourself a little bit of an advantage. But we do start to see the Eco Player now, or well, not the Eco Player, but rather Eco Player moving in with that submarine, looking to take out these mexes. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, it looks like everything's been cleaned up. You can see the sweeper made it all the way back here. They do eventually get cleaned up by our friend here. And meanwhile, back towards the sea, we've now got ourselves a little bit of an assault frigate matchup. The one thing to note, though, is that this submarine will be the difference here. So you need a way to deal with it. Either you go to your own submarine, or you look for a destroyer, or you can potentially put down a torpedo launcher. But normally the best bet is to go into your own submarine if you think you got the micro. And let's see exactly how he does. But you can see right now, there's a bit of chat going on right now. You've got, quite literally, he's calling out the enemy laner and saying, F you, and he's asking, you can't handle some gaming, bro? Come on. And that's really what this is, right? Like, they are game. Oh, that's a... Oh, he managed to get it. Well done. Well played. All right, so he gets it. He's safe. He's cleaned it all up, and he's a happy little camper. So, I mean, at this stage, it kind of looks like it's fair, right? Like, you look at this and you go, okay, but this kind of seems standard. Well, it's not. It's nowhere near fair. And that's because the commander is back here. It all comes down, when it comes to, often when it comes down to GOC, a big component of it is commander positioning, okay? So is your commander over on this island? Is he over here looking to potentially push on the Geo? This is a huge component. And Eco Player is one of those players that likes to get aggressive. And the consequence of this hovercraft attack is he can't get aggressive. He's also dealing with these mechs issues that he's got. And because of that, his metal's behind him, and because his metal's behind, it means his troops are behind. So you can see him even in the chat right now at 8 minutes to hovercrafts. C is lost, by the way. So I'm pretty sure earlier he mentioned that he's a noob. So, somewhere in, I think I've got it turned off. I've got the pings turned off, so I probably don't see it. But he says, "Look at this noob with the ping up here," and I just thought it's quite ironic that he's losing the hovercrafts here. Now, just remember, I'm not trying to disparage Eco Player. He's a very good player. It's just, you know, I want to highlight this strategy. But that's essentially it, the opening. Let's talk a little bit more about this game more broadly and see how it's doing. So, of course, we've got Snooper, who has returned. OS 45 is pretty good. The return of the king. It's great to have him back. So, Snooper, welcome back. And we can see he's going for a little bit of T2 here. In the back line, we've got Grumpy, who's over on the other side. So, OS 36, quite a good player as well. He's just pumping out butlers at the moment. Let's check in with us, see how we're doing. We're doing okay. We've got quite a bit of butlers as well. We're handing out T2 at the moment. And an important thing to note is we're now really in the habit of always keeping our commander alive, or at least keeping the wreckage for him alive. He is incredibly important. Now, we're going to be up to some sneaky shenanigans in this game. I've got something that I don't know whether or not I've exposed it on the channel just yet, but it's a fun little strat that I'm enjoying. Not strat, but tactic, because it's not like, strategies are more like overarching approach, right? Like, I'm going to open hovercrafts. That's a strategy, whereas this is more of like a tactical way that you can use your units. So you'll see that soon. It does involve the platypus. It always involves the platypus. I'm a big fan of the platy. But meanwhile, towards the front, so we've contributed over a Fat Boy to help out with the front, because as you can see, watch me do this, not particularly doing well. And the reason why, well, I'm sure you remember that Hovercraft attack that came in earlier was really just, it kind of neutered him, and then it just allowed his opponents to push up. And you can see he's OS 50, so you'd expect he'd be relatively easily able to handle a 29 and 27 OS here. And unfortunately, those hovers are just the key little factor that help contribute to his demise here. But fortunately, the Fat Boy is able to help cover. I think there's a second Fat Boy out potentially from the Geo as well, because I did see that he was playing as that. Fat Boy is definitely becoming a little bit more meta on this map right now. I will say that it wasn't as common as this at all. It was almost always Mausers into, or like Banishers were quite common as well, but now like Fat Boy is really starting to take over. And part of the reason why I think this might be is just because Eco, you're not expected to, but like I have been absolutely loving a Fat Boy rush. So basically what I do is I get out my first T2, I build all 3 of these mexes. This one, I'll just leave it on the blueprint. And then after that, I will ask for a heavy transport from air, and I will take a Fat Boy up to the front. Normally it hits front somewhere in the region of about 6 minutes, 37 minutes, somewhere in that region. And it's really effective, because normally they might potentially ask for a Rattle of Peace. You might ask for snipers or something like that. And it's just a great way to mitigate that inevitable collapse of the front. Now, keep in mind that's only in situations where the front is actually collapsing. In situations like this, and you can see just how effective that Fat Boy is as all these grunts try and run through right now, and he just continues racking up that kill count up to 39 right now. Also, a really big fan of handing it off. Just make sure you hand it off to your allies and let them do it for you. Yeah, we'll check back in now with our water player and see how he's doing. I am Legion. He is over here. And still on T1 at the moment, so now starting to scale his energy a little bit. Going to be expecting his T2 con if he hasn't already got it. No, he has already got it. 11 minutes in, and you can see he's got the constructors that are working. Has he transported it over? He's transporting it over right now. So he's really looking to kick it into the next level. Meanwhile, back over towards our position, we've got Avantgarde who's going to be upgrading his mechs here, but we don't see him flying down here just yet. So quite a bit of the curve at the moment with regard to his T2 mechs. So Eco Player going to try and push up towards this position. Arguably not enough defenses here, so this could be a potential opening for him, but we do continue to see there is plenty of presence out here on the map. And has this been spotted? Indeed it has. We can see that the naval radar has indeed spotted this commander beginning to move out over here. You can see all of the ships moving out here. He actually sees the commander underneath, so he gets 100% confirmation, hey, this is a commander that's coming out here, and he needs to deal with it. So the question is, how does he deal with it? The answer, of course, it's moving out all of his destroyers. You can see he's got plenty of them right here, and he's going to be making his way over. So this commander is 100% dead, because the destroyers will be able to shoot it underneath the water, and if it dares leave the water, it will be shelled very quickly. So unfortunately for Eco Player, he is going to be losing out on both of those aspects here. Now we can see a couple of pink units coming up from the rear. Who could that possibly be? What could they possibly be doing? Of course, it's us. So the idea with these platypus is we want to clear out radars. We need to make sure that there are no radars in front of us. That's really important, because there's something secret we're hiding behind that we don't want the enemy to know about. They're welcome to know about our platties, but they aren't welcome to know about what's coming after that. It's a little teaser for later. I'm sure you can imagine what it may be. Meanwhile, let's check in on enemy air player. We've got Sunshines at the back. He is pumping. He's got his fusion up at the moment. The commander has blown, but he's now looking to res it. And this is an interesting time. So he's gone 2 fusions into resing the commander. So quite a quick res on this commander. Normally, I expect the commander res somewhere in the realm of like 18 to 19 minutes to anticipate that marauder timing, but he's gone quite early with this. And I will just foreshadow right now, I didn't expect this. And it's a bit problematic a little bit later. Let's just say that much. Meanwhile, we've got more pressure coming in over towards this point. But at this stage, if we compare the pair, right? I am Legion on 50 metal per second. We've got Eco Player on 29 metal per second. Now he's got his T2 con down here. Oh, what is that? Oh, it's a scuttle. Oh, it's a second scuttle. Oh, it's a third scuttle, and they almost got scouted if it wasn't for this pesky finch right here, or this blink, but fortunately they didn't see it because we were on stealth. And then we quickly changed to a T2 constructor. So, the idea is that we're going to push out of here. As soon as we've got a little bit of clearance, we're going to push out here. We're going to try and hit every radar along the way, and then we're going to make it with our scuttle. So, let me see if I can turn this back on. Yeah, I can. So, the idea is we want to come in up along this angle, scuttle to over here, and then scuttle across to this position. And as you can see, there's no radar coverage whatsoever. We've managed, there were 2 radars, one here and one here. and we were able to take them both out. So that's the idea. Meanwhile, C is being lost at the moment. Iron Legion with his hovercraft opening, able to take out the eco player on the other side. You could see that he's appearing to go for a bit of a base trade here, and I think this is probably the smartest move you could do. The second smartest move would just be to control D your army. And I know that sounds weird, right? Like, why would you control D your army? Why would you blow up your entire army? Well, the risk is, if you go and attack the enemy right now, and the enemy kills all of your ships, they're going to be able to resurrect those ships and then eat the ships. And then that's basically just a whole bunch of metal, 5,600 metal, that you're donating to your enemy right now. Because they've already won the sea, they've got all the time in the world, so they don't even need to reclaim your ships. They can res them and then reclaim them immediately after. So that's something that you do need to be cautious about. We can see him moving up towards this position here. Meanwhile, up towards the north, our goal is to try and contribute to this sea meaningfully. Try and help them win. It's a little bit late, 15 minutes here, so look, we probably could have been on the water a little bit sooner, but remember, the idea is that we do want the scuttles to get through undetected. Even though there is radar here, remember that there's not sonar here. So if we take a look at Iron Legion, he's got coverage here, but he doesn't see our units. Meanwhile, the Platties make their way up towards the top side. We're going to try and contribute a little bit onto this sea here, but indeed, as we suspected, it was a feed into the enemy. And it's like, at the end of the day, have you done really that much damage? No, you haven't. All right, back towards the main base here. You can see that our team is putting up a surrender vote. It's always difficult when you feel like the game is over. So here now, we're managing to take this out. Keep in mind, we've got the scuttles coming up the rear, and unfortunately the front is falling, which means that we need to be online. In fact, we needed to be online quite a bit ago. It's 16 minutes into the game, and you can see that we've now put down a couple of bot labs here, as the ticks have made it through. So unfortunately, this is probably a little bit too late. But the truth is, like, we only went into one fusion. You can't get mad at us for going into one single fusion, can you? Well, you probably could. Meanwhile, we're going to make it down towards the south. Now, one of the things I didn't expect from this game, I will say, is the fact that when we brought these Platties in, Sunshine's brought his commander over here. So as I said, normally I wouldn't expect the commander to be alive, but then I wouldn't expect the commander to respond in this way, just to 5 Platties. Obviously, he wants to guard up this area, just to make sure nothing happens, and he did that correctly. But now all the Platties have died. We tried to take out Snooper. We were unsuccessful. And that was actually a diversion tactic. I specifically wanted to come down here and do that. Because, well, if we take a look here, they don't see anything. They've got no idea what is happening up towards the north. At least not for the moment. Meanwhile, towards the south, the push continues from the enemy team. At the moment, it's just really ticks. So it's just about making sure none of them manage to get through. We're starting out our own streams of ticks here. And now it's spotted up towards the north. The single commander that revealed it all. So the goal for me, as the platypus were coming out, was to come down to this position right here, and then we do a triple split. We hit one here, and then one right here on the geo. That's the goal, to do 3 at a time. But unfortunately, 2 of them get spotted out. But not only that, we also get the third one that was spotted, I think briefly for a second here. It definitely gets spotted right now. We know that much because they ping it out, unfortunately. But the ticks do make it through. So the spam is going to continue. Meanwhile, the front has collapsed completely, and the question is going to be whether or not we can pull it back. How would we potentially pull it back? Well, we've taken out 1 player on land at the moment. He's still got quite a bit in regard to metal. You can see he's got his mexes going here. So what about taking out a 2nd player? Well, that's indeed the goal. Snooper sits here, waiting, all alone, ready. Unfortunately, the truth is the scuttle hits with success. Great success. And Snooper goes goodbye. Now, that won't be the last we see from him. He's fortunately got plenty of backup over here. We were able to do some significant damage. And meanwhile, towards the front, we're contributing units meaningfully. We've got some Jaguars that are out here. But the trouble that we've got is we're scaling very well with regard to our wind and with regard to our energy converters. At the moment, we're sitting on, how are we doing? 175 metal per second. That's pretty damn good. Grumpy is only on 102. And, well, 91 at the moment, and he's got an APHIS up, so we're doing okay, and that's really the power of wind. Wind is incredibly important on this map. Scaling wind up to about between 400 and 600, wind is incredibly important, so you can see we've got 419 here, so that is definitely within parameters. And so now the question is, well, you've made all these Jaguars. What are you going to do with these Jaguars, and what are the potential ways that we can win here? If we take a look at the map, so we've lost GeoC, but our Beach Sea has won. So one of the ways that I like to potentially go about a win is through a drop, and that's exactly what we're going to attempt to do now. You can see where we've got 30 stalks in queue, and the goal here is that we want to pick up all of these Jaguars and we're going to drop them. So I think I've revealed this strategy before. And the spot I love to drop is this spot right here. It's incredibly powerful. It just allows you to just come off the ramps. And the main goal is that you want to come up here and you want to hit the eco player, because the eco player typically is going to have a hard time reacting to this. Meanwhile, Sunshine's attempting something sneaky over here. Let's ride on board with him, see what he sees. He sees a whole bunch of wind, whole bunch of fighters. He's trying to get that commander in here on the back line, but realizes that's probably a bit too many fighters. We've also got the flak trucks now coming out, trying to hold this position, and you can see with all the fighters going down, he realizes it's probably not going to be a worthy pursuit getting that commander in there, and he doesn't really see any high-value targets either, right? Like, you're mainly going for the APHIS with that comm drop, and now we've got more platties on the way through. This time, they're on the enemy team looking to make their way down, so we're going to have to react to that as well. We're also going to be thinking about our drop, so there's two ways that you can do it. You could, I think, looking back on it, I probably should have moved these Jags up over here to cover our brown friend. But unfortunately, we're just going to rally units up towards the north and just hope that we're able to deflect that. Legion out here, still doing work. Not really thinking about going into a flag just yet, as Sunshine drops and says, all right, we'll take out the AGO for the moment. You can see the platties do manage to get in back here. There's plenty of platties as well, so he'll be easily able to take out this base, and he's having a very good time. And you can see that our primary thinking was that we need to protect ourselves, not realizing that the platties may actually come to our allies. Meanwhile, over towards the east, the death drop begins. How many have we got? We got 26. Each one of these has got a Jaguar on board. It is a death drop. And as I said, this is normally my favorite place to go. I'm going to slow it down to 0.5. I didn't realize mostly empty here. Mostly empty here. I was like, yeah, okay, this is a perfect place to drop. Meanwhile, there's literally 5 Archangels sitting here. I got 6 including this one down here. I got really excited. We had 26 of these bad boys, and unfortunately, if we speed it up a little bit, this was not particularly good intel, I'll say right now, because when it comes to landing, there was about 5 of us left. And, well, yeah, it was a heartbreaking drop right there. So yeah, unfortunately the drop was not successful, but this is one of the ways that I love to leverage this sort of combination of defense and offense together, because the Jaguars are great at dealing with a number of things. Any T1 spam Jags are just going to be incredible. They're quick, mobile, very good at dealing with spam from the enemy, and you can see we do manage to make it through, but unfortunately there's snipers around here. There's units everywhere. He's got the bullpup, and unfortunately we can't do anything. If that drop had landed, so if we'd actually dropped around here instead, there's a good chance that we could have got, 90% of them down. I mean, there's a whole bunch of snipers right here. We're probably not going to do too much damage. Kane is very well covered against this type of attack, so well played to Kane for thinking that far ahead. Meanwhile, over towards the top side, we've got another drop attempt right here. What do we got on board? We got a couple of sprinters. Oh, this guy is memeing out of his mind. Sunshine's right now. He's trying to drop sprinters into the back line. I like it. I like it a lot. But not able to connect. Meanwhile, we finally decided it is time for us to make an APHIS. 22 minutes into the game, it's the first APHIS. It's not the Drongo that you know. We'll say that much. I'm definitely a changed person. I'm not... I remember the good old days of how many APHIS can I make and still live. But yeah, those are not the days anymore. We're trying to win now. Unfortunately, Sunshine's commander does eventually go down over on this side of the map. We're able to clean him up as well. And at this part of the game, it's really difficult for us, right? Like, if we compare the pair, we're sitting on about 500, 600 metal. They're sitting about 650, so it looks pretty even at this stage. But unfortunately, we've lost our best player. Watch Me Do This has had to relocate his base back here. And he's basically had to start from square one. Now, granted, I probably should have given him over. Now, looking back on this, hand him over just 16 energy converters and a whole bunch of wins. And then that sort of like helps him get back into it. But he's been somewhat on his own because, to be honest, we've been putting out fires everywhere as well. It's not like we haven't just been sitting here making APHIS all this time. It's only now that we actually get to do that. And compare that to the other side where, well, to be fair, Snooper's had troubles as well. I'll be honest, I'll be real. But he has fortunately had a pretty good backup plan in this situation. So the biggest concern I've got is that we're just not going to have that APM level that's required in the late game. And we've got to try and find a way to take advantage of that. So the issue that we'll also have is Sunshine's is a pretty good player. He's an incredibly good air player. So something that we always have to be aware of is that factor. So we'll check in. You can see the commander's now being res, so 24 minutes. This is incredibly important, having the commander alive. Because, like, the truth is, you can take that last 5 metal or that last 40 metal off the commander. You might buy yourself an extra wind. But think about the value a commander brings to you in the late game. How many games have you seen a commander just D-gun through an army of T3 units? Exactly. That's the reason why we have to keep him alive and why it's so important. I played a game yesterday, I'm not kidding you. I had to pause. I guess technically it's a tactical pause. I had to pause twice because people were trying to reclaim my commander wreck. Oh gosh, I tell you what, I wish there was a way. I've already put it in the suggestions. Like, there needs to be a way to prevent your allies from reclaiming your wrecks if you don't want them to reclaim your wrecks. Like, the enemy, obviously, fair game. But like, man, please stop reclaiming my commander wreck. It's one of those things where it's very hard, right? Because at the same time, I understand. There are circumstances where you would want your ally to reclaim your commander rack. If you're over on the front here and your commander dies, it's like, get in there, bro. Start reclaiming that. Don't let the enemy get it. But at the same time, when you're on the back here and there's 13 metal left in this bad boy, it's like, please leave me alone. We got ourselves a little bit of a drop coming through. Sunshine's is a big fan of this. He's always going for these cheeky little drops, and he is unfortunately going to take out a whole bunch of our constructors here. You can see that we just got a couple of them out just to help rebuild this base over here. But unfortunately, he's got good position, and in the end, able to take this out. We also see the big lab over here, and this is always a big problem. Now, normally when you see this, it means one thing, and that's one thing only, and that's marauders. So this is a very easy response. There's a couple of ways that you can respond to marauders, but when you're in an eco position like this, and you've got plenty of infrastructure already, the answer is almost always going into the Razorback. Another good counter is just ticks. I found that out the hard way when I was doing my Marauder rush. I did like a Marauder rush at 13 minutes. I was attacking the enemy and they scouted it. So like they scouted it when it was here and I was walking across there. And by the time I got to the shore, there was like 200 ticks. And I was like, what? Okay. Turns out Marauder's not particularly good against ticks. So that was something that I learned that day. I also learned it's kind of important to make sure that you don't expose your Marauders until they're literally on the beach. So what else is there that we can talk about in this game? Because it's going to continue. Well, you can see at the moment, we're doing all right. We're kind of keeping up with the metal. If we talk about like big or size, like who's big on the enemy team? Well, they've got Grumpy. He's doing relatively well back here. He's got 4 APHIS with a 5th one on the way. When it comes to our team, we're sitting at about 20k energy, so not terribly. We've got a couple people that are like sitting at 5, 6k, so there's definitely some contenders in here to help carry this game. But from Eco, it's obviously our obligation to make sure that we greed, but that we also help the game as much as we can. And we need to make sure that we don't die to these Marauders that we inevitably know are coming in because we spotted the big lab down here. So that means that we're going to send out a whole bunch of Razorbacks. Now, it's really important with the Razorbacks that you want them at this level here, because if you go any further back like this, the Marauders can come up and step around. And the Razorbacks obviously a lot slower than the Marauders, and that is something that you do need to be aware of. Because one of the things that I often think about is like, GOC is typically the one that wins this sea, right? Normally we see the GOCs win, but in today's game, we've got both of the beach seas actually winning their games, winning their lanes rather. And it really doesn't leave you a lot of options. Like, I feel like your only option when you're playing beach sea is to go for a flag. Like a flag parked in here would do a lot of work. You're going to be taking out this, you take out here, you're able to control front, you're able to do damage over here. But like Marauders are so easily shut down here. That's part of the reason why GOC is so powerful if you're able to win it, because you've got this entire beach that you can just go and attack people with. So it's definitely an interesting discussion. And part of the reason why I really like this map, and I love talking about this map, you know, the more I think about it, and I know there's people that just hate this map, and they're just like, you know, like, oh, I dealt with this back in Supreme, and now I've got to deal with it here. And you can see this is just a complete failure from me not microing my Marauders, or not microing my Razorbacks. So what you want to do is when these come through, you want to space them correctly, and basically you want to move back as they're moving towards you. That's the goal, because the more of Marauders that are hitting you, the faster you're going to be dying. So if you're able to continue moving back, so basically you're kind of kiting them, but still keeping that spacing in there, that's important. But yeah, the way I feel about Supreme, because I know people hate it a lot, is to me it just feels like League of Legends, right? Like, people don't complain that there's only one map in League of Legends. I mean, I'm sure there's people that do. But it's like, for me, I see the map as a way to give that consistency. And I see the different positions that you've got as like different lanes. I guess the reality is there's not a whole lot of different heroes if we could do that. But anyway, that's just the way I see it. We got Commander over here ready to defend. We got our Razorbacks that should be over here on this position. You can see we're definitely out of position here. So now we're going to have to reroute everything. We're going to make sure that our anti-air is in or is ready to go. And you can just see how many flak trucks we've got here. 19. So important to have these. These are just incredibly powerful, but able to come through here. Commander coming across. Razorback's doing a wonderful job in just continuing the kite, making sure that we are just being very annoying in the commander. You know, we rezzed him up. How many times have you seen him degun T3 units? Well, here you go, add this one to the list. And guess what? He's going to go down, but that doesn't matter. You know why? Because we're going to res him again. And that's what's so good about him. He's just able to just be rezzed up. And we had a whole bunch of ticks right here that could have been helping out, but that's all right. Meanwhile, towards the front, it's holding for the moment. A whole bunch of air continuing to come through. T2 bombers now looking to try and find any kind of success on a bombing run here. Not really that much on the initial one. How about the Geo? Well, there's not too much spice in the Geo either. He's going for the what appears to be the fusions. He probably will get them as well, judging by the amount of damage these do. But no, in the end, it looks like he had a bit of a split. Looks like one bombing run went here, maybe a second one, and then a third one over here. So wasn't really able to hit it completely. So when it comes to scaling, our team is doing okay, but the enemy team is getting ahead of us. And that's the trouble that you've got, is that in these situations where you've got to make units, you can't make APHIS. Whereas the enemy, they're not really making APHIS. Like, we don't have anything too crazy. It's just everyone is slowly getting bigger on the enemy team while we're kind of getting stagnant. That's the trouble that we've got at this stage of the game. The other thing to note is, once again, it feels like Beach C, I don't know how to meaningfully contribute as Beach C after you've won. As I said, like, I feel like the flag might actually be the play. I guess you could technically do Murras up this way. That's not terrible either. I kind of like that. But like bringing Marauders into here, you're just asking for it. Commander, you've already got the triple pit bulls up, a single Razorback for the moment. Look, you could get past it, but it's going to take out a fair bit. You've also got plenty of build power back here to make sure that pit bulls are coming up to help defend. And it's just like, the chance of that succeeding is very low compared to Beach C, which is just infinite. Like, your chance of winning, it's like 80-20. So, yeah, it's one of those things where it's, yeah, what's the best way to contribute here? Probably just a flag, which is funny because it's like, you know, we talk shit about the flag in our tier list video, but at the end of the day, it's still a pretty strong unit. Now our Razorbacks do manage to come across in time. A little bit of a misplay here from I Am Legion, but you can see even back here, I mean, our commander wasn't rezzed yet. We actually went after the advanced metal extractors first, just so we do that so that our allies don't res them before us. You can see that there's quite a bit out here. It's like, oh, well, we're greedy. We think we can get away with it. But Razorback's able to push this back now, and you can see that this is pretty much going to be shot down at this point. So now we can focus on the front, or we can focus on scaling. So that's the game plan here. We're going to scale from here. So what are we sitting on? We're sitting at 450 metal per tick or per second. Any competitors on the enemy team? Not really. So we're pretty much outscaling the enemies on the enemy team. But just remember that while we're doing our best to outscale the enemy, we also need to make sure our allies are not dying. And that's not something that we've really been succeeding with. So it's definitely been a bit of a struggle. I think my question as well, because Avant-Garde is quite a good player. I'd love to hear what his thoughts are about, you know, how he could best contribute from this position. Because while it's nice to deny this from your enemy, it's also questionable about like whether or not you actually want to win it. We got our first nuke coming down as well. I wish there was a way to make it say nuclear launch detected when you're the spectator, because normally you can only hear it if you're the enemy or if you're an ally to the nuke. So you can see he actually saved the nuke until he was about to have that second nuke. And now that he's got that second nuke up, he's able to hit very quickly, and there should be limited response in the form of an anti-nuke. So that's the goal here. When it comes to our anti-nuke coverage, we've only got the one, I think, at the moment. Where are we? Yeah, we're sitting right here. This is not the good anti-nuke. Our anti-nuke should be over here. But we kind of messed up a little bit with our placement of this anti-nuke, and it does also leave a bit of exposure down here on this south side. If I remember correctly, I think he might have actually scouted that as well, and I'm pretty sure he may hit it. There's a fair bit to be lost. The main thing that you're losing here is the BP, because you technically will... Oh, no, hold on. He's got anti-nuke here. Oh, but you can see this anti-nuke's only just been built, which means that if we check back in on this slide, he hasn't fired it just yet. But as I said, right, like he's only just thrown this anti-nuke down now that the nuke's gone off, but will it be enough time? So once again, I think it's probably my... fault for just misplacing my anti-nuke, because like if I bring my anti-nuke down to here, you'd be surprised how much extra that covers because of that. Can I see? Yeah. So it basically just covers like all of this like that, and then he's just forced to nuke on that edge, and it's just not fun. And now we go the next nuke now coming through. I think he might hit Geo in the head here. He could bunk Geo. Geo, oh no, he doesn't. Definitely doesn't bunk Geo. Geo's got 6 in the tank on that one. This one's coming through though. And almost, yeah, it's going into the back line. I did remember correctly. He actually did go for this edge nuke. It's kind of crazy that he went for this edge nuke here. Like, he could have come in really close. Wouldn't have made a difference. I mean, maybe this nuke here kills this, and then that chains the damage onto that and probably pops him. But he would have died anyway. And you can see me saying, ouch. I don't know how long that anti-nuke had left on it, but I imagine it probably would have been about 20 to 30 seconds. So, yeah. Anyway, it's how do you get your ally back into it? Well, you got to share constructors with them. That's the way that you do it. So you can see we're going to hand over a whole bunch of constructors here. So he gets a new T2 con and 49 air constructors. So with that, he can build all the things that he needs to, because he's already got like really good energy and metal conversion infrastructure. So it's just about making sure everything comes back quickly. So he wants to just build up his nanos. He wants to just build his nanos and his advanced metal extractors. Right? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. What else is there to check in on at this stage of the game? Because the truth is, at this point of the game, there's really not much left. We're doing our best to kind of hold towards the center, but it feels like we're being outnumbered, outgunned. And, I mean, that's just the consequence of losing our best player, right? Like, we have lost him. And I think that's probably one of the things I could improve on, is just like making sure I'm more reactive when we lose our good players, or doing more to prevent the loss of the good players. Does that, yeah, maybe that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of hard, right? Like, as I said, like, we got the fat boy up here. Should have we got the rattle of peace? Maybe. Arguably, we could have got the rattle of peace as well. Probably could have gone into a sniper, but I think maybe just like throwing down a couple more T2 units. Because like realistically, we're effectively scaled here. Like we're sitting on a similar amount of APHIS to the enemy. So we could definitely be contributing more towards the front, because at the moment it's T3 together with a couple of T1s. But the goal here, so as you can see, we're now looking to scale even more with regard to our production. We want to make sure that we've got as much as we can. We're definitely struggling a little bit here, and that nuke hit right on the head. Oh, oh yeah, I remember. The Marauders came in and killed the anti-nuke. You can see that they've circled it here. The Marauders came in, killed the anti-nuke, and then the nuke lands and kills everybody, which was kind of nice. I definitely like that strat of targeting down the anti-nuke. It makes it easy. It's almost like when you EMP the anti-nuke, basically. Okay, so at this stage, we've got a whole bunch of Marauders that we've rezzed. We've got a whole bunch of T3 units that are just ready to come out and do some damage towards the front, and we're facing off against the enemy who's got a lot of T3. So it's at this point, I mean, it's basically 1v5 at this stage, because everyone else has pretty much just died on our team, unfortunately. And I mean, there's only so much we can do when we're outnumbered this way and outgunned in this way. But of course, we try our best to hold on. I think we also get some Starlights out as well to help us. I'm a big fan of Starlights, even at this point where you've got T3. They're really quite nice just to help deal that little bit of extra damage. The trouble is they do die to Vanguards very quickly. But as long as you can deal with the enemy Vanguards, force them back, even though he's got the high ground here, so you can see he can hit us, but we can't hit him. So that's part of the reason why like this high ground here is really, really nice to have. But yeah, the Vanguards are now going to be able to push up here. Excuse me, you'll hear my microphone occasionally mute. I don't know if you can hear it mute, but you'll hear me stop talking. I'm a bit sick at the moment, so that's just me muting my mic so that I can cough my guts up for a little bit. But you can see, even at this point, we're trying our best to hold on, but it's not going to happen. The Tsar coming right up to the front, but you can see just the Starlights and how quickly, how easily they melt through this Tsar as he comes up for a little bit of a kiss. Unfortunately, not going to happen today. Lots of snipers back here as well to help deal with all the Razorbacks. They're going to have a field day out here as they clean these up. But unfortunately for us, we've done a decent job scaling. Now we're moving on to the aircons. So the idea with the aircons is that we've got build power that can move around. It means that we can come down here and build all of our advanced energy converters. It means that if we want to build pork over here, which is short for porcupine, which means to cuddle up in a ball and have a whole bunch of spikes pointed towards your enemy, then we can do that as well. And it also means that we can just boost out our T3. So here you can see we're boosting out our Titan, making sure that we are taking advantage of all the build power we possibly can. That's essentially the goal. So now what we're looking to do, so you can see we're sitting at 167 at the moment, and that is, I think it's probably reasonable to go up to about 800 playing as Eco, which seems crazy, but it just feels like it's the best way to play it. So yeah, very difficult to take this position away from the enemy once they've got it. You can just see the range difference here as well. Look at this. He's able to fire all the way back here. Meanwhile, we can barely get up this mountain. It is incredible the difference between this. So if you're able to get up here, your T3, Snooper doing a wonderful job here, considering the fact that he was taken out early on by that scuttle. He's done a wonderful job in rebuilding his base. He's got a beautiful little spot back here as well. Lots and lots of space. Meanwhile, unfortunately, a couple T3 did sneak through down to Avant-Garde. He did eventually get flags out, but you can see that even the enemy had started to recontest water. And it's at this point that we throw in the towel. We decide, you know what, we can't do it. We can't do it. We're obviously very well and truly outscaled at this point. The enemy's done a great job in just keeping everybody alive and making sure everyone is growing their economies. And unfortunately, we could not say the same. So in the end, the victory goes over to the Hovercrafts. They were successful. They were instrumental in the victory today. Not because they were able to get any super big game-winning actions in, but rather they were able to take a lot of our attention away from scaling. If we'd been able to scale more, we would have been able to make more units later on, and we just weren't able to do that because we had so much stuff coming through here all the time. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, in the end, if we take a look, we did relatively well with regard to our scaling. How do we do on statistics here? 109 APM, so not too bad there. How do we go on medal? Medal, I think we already know the answer to that. We won by a mile. So yeah, in the end, Hovercraft's kind of good. We'll leave it at that, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.